What's up YouTube? My name is Trent Wel-Don. Welcome back to my channel, Wel-Don Aquatics. Today we're a little informal, we're out in my garage, but stay tuned for a new project. So I've recently introduced you to the black water tank that I'm going to be setting up, and I want to get into how to clean some tanks today. So we're going to clean the black water tank, which is that Acrylic Innovative Marine tank. I'll show you what I use to clean that, but I also got a second tank out here in my garage that we're going to be cleaning right now. And this is the second tank build that I've hinted at to in a few of my videos. So I'm going to flip the camera around and we'll give you a quick rundown. All right guys, so here is the official second tank build. This is just a standard 55 gallon. These are probably one of the most common tank sizes in the hobby right now, especially when Petco does their $1 a gallon sell, because you can get them, $1 a gallon. It is 4 feet long. It's only 12 inches front to back, so it's not my favorite size, but it does, that length of 4 feet adds a lot of good opportunity. The height is really well for a planted tank. This is actually a really good standard tank to start out with. This is what people will call a large tank, and this is to most people. So this is a second-hand tank, and as you can see, it's dirty. And it's one thing I talked about when I made my video of 5 tips on buying a used tank, is not to be afraid of a dirty tank. We've got a lot of some algae, some hard water spots. I think this may have been used previously as a saltwater tank, so we've got some things to scrub off. And you're looking at it, and it's pretty nasty, it's pretty grimy. But barkeeper's friend. This is a powder. This stuff is amazing for cleaning glass tanks. I haven't tried it on acrylic. I'm afraid it may be a little too rough on it. But this does say it's meant for like ceramic and copper and different things, so fiberglass. So we may have some options. And again, I apologize for the background noise. We are out in my garage getting ready to clean this. But yeah, guys, but barkeeper's friend. You can pick this stuff up at Home Depot. I found this at Walmart. Out here in my hometown, Walmart and Home Depot both have it. So what I'll do is I'll use like a Scott's Bright pad. Like it's just a regular scrubber pad. Algae pads work. You can use like a washcloth. I'll fill the tank up with a little bit of some water. I'll sprinkle some of this in there and then just get to scrubbing. I have to say though, if you end up using any kind of chemical to clean your tank, rinse it extremely well. You do not want any residue of that stuck anywhere when you go to fill your tank up and add fish into it. You also note too, there's some stuff on this glass. So we're gonna use just a straight razor blade to take that off. It won't damage the glass if you do it correctly. Just don't apply too much pressure. Really, you're just doing a gentle scrape just to take some of that off. So I'm gonna get to scrubbing, and we'll save you the boring part, but stick around and I'll show you the end results here in a few minutes. All right guys, here is the end result of the tank. Now you can see that just with a little bit of effort, I was actually able to get all of that coralline algae that was up on the top of the glass there. So this was used for a saltwater tank. I seem to find that most used tanks I get that are glass have been used for saltwater. It's very common. But yeah, I mean, this took me about 30 minutes. I mean, this wasn't a hard project. There's still some areas on the glass here that are a little cloudy. Can't totally see it on the camera. But I mean, for 30 minutes, and for a really cheap tank that I found secondhand, it cleaned up really well. And one more thing about that barkeeper's friend I was talking about, I guess a couple more things. This is not going to sterilize your tank. This is merely just to help clean the tank. It's not going to sterilize it if you're looking to get it kind of any disease out or bacteria out of the tank. So you have to use something else for that. But guys, I mean, I used a straight razor blade, and it required me to scrape all the panels. But even then, 30 minutes in, this tank looks fantastic. So that's my recommendation for cleaning a glass tank, is to use Barkeeper's Friend, Scotch Brite Pad, Scrub Pad, and you know, a straight razor. It really does make a world of difference on the tank. So we're gonna move inside now, and we're gonna go clean the acrylic tank and talk more about how I do that. All right, guys, so we're back inside. We're now gonna start cleaning the 16-gallon Innovative Marine tank that I have. This needs some work. So this is a full acrylic tank. So what we're gonna do is a little different. I'm nervous to use a razor blade on this because I know acrylic will scratch easier than glass. So what we're gonna be using to scrub on this is an algae pad. This is an algae pad that I bought from Aquarium Co-op. They're $1 a piece. And I like these because they act very similar to the magic erasers, but without all of the chemicals included in this. So to pair this, I'm using a simple solution in a spray bottle. It's about a 70-30 mix of vinegar to water. It's about 70% vinegar, 30% water, just to dilute that vinegar down just a tiny bit. So vinegar is actually a really good natural cleaner. It's not going to leave any hard substances. It can help remove some stains. It'll help remove hard water spots. So that's what we're going to be using on this acrylic tank as we clean this. So the first thing that I am going to do is I'm actually going to remove both of these outflow nozzles. They pop off pretty easily. And these I'm going to soak these in a solution of water and vinegar to help get off these all this calcified junk on here, just to clean these up, make these look a little more presentable. The next thing I want to do is I want to remove the pump out of this. So I've actually removed the outflow hoses, and again I'm going to run this pump in a solution of water and vinegar just to clean off some of this calcification on here. This tank was, I believe, previously again used as a saltwater tank, as it's a very popular method. And that's about it. So now it comes the hard part of getting out in all these nooks and crannies and cleaning everything out to make this look truly presentable. So we're gonna get started. I'm not gonna film the entire thing of me cleaning it, but I'll kind of show you what I do, talk a little bit, and then we'll go from there. So again, this is just a full, well, not full, it's a 70-30 bout mix of vinegar to water. It's a lot easier, for example, we use the Barkeeper's Friend to clean that glass tank. I don't know exactly what the Barkeeper's Friend would do on acrylic, and I really don't want to test it on this tank. That's something I haven't totally researched yet, but I know that vinegar isn't going to harm anything. This isn't a lot of household cleaners, but with it just being, it's just the white distilled vinegar, really cheap, nothing special. And I think I got this spray bottle for $1. So I'm just dousing the entire surface, in the inner surface of the tank, with this mixture, as vinegar will help eat through some of the calcification that's on here. I've got a lot of calcification in the back area, and what I may end up doing actually is filling this tank up with water and adding a good amount of vinegar and letting that run through the pump, as it's not going to harm anything, it's not going to hurt anything, just to help break up a lot of the junk that's in the back chamber where the filtration is going to be. So again, we're just going to take that algae scrubber pad, and we're just going to start wiping everything down. You find some tougher spots, we're going to scrub at them a little bit. I know that down here on the bottom corners, we got some, and sorry if I'm kind of blocking the camera and moving around, but I just wanted to bring you along for a quick description, a quick talk about how I clean my tanks. Again, vinegar is not going to be a total disinfectant or a sterilizing agent to use in your tank if you're concerned about bacteria and that nature and everything else. But I'm going to go ahead and clean this up a little more, and we'll talk here in a few minutes. Alright guys, here's another idea for you. So this is that same acrylic tank we were working on with the algae pad and the vinegar. So the vinegar helped. It really does help. It breaks up a lot. The algae pad's a good scrubber. It will help scrub off some of that stuff, but it doesn't have the fine grit you always need. So I got an idea, and I've kind of dabbled with this in the past. So this tank fits in my bathtub. Now I filled it with some warm water and put in some Dawn dish soap. Now it's very specifically Dawn dish soap because I feel it's not as aggressive or hard. And I put the pump back in, I put the water deflectors back on here, and I'm just gonna let this run. So that pump is circulating water through here, and I'm gonna let that run for a solid, 30 minutes to an hour, maybe a little longer. And this will be a bit of a time-consuming process because I'm gonna need to let this run, empty the tank, and then like we talked about, the barkeeper's friend, I need to make sure that I rinse this tank thoroughly. There can't be any dish soap left. Now as we get to actually putting media in this tank and all that, and we start cycling this tank with beneficial bacteria, it won't be as big of a worry because we're going to let this tank completely air dry before we do any of that. But I still want to make sure to get out as much of the soap residue as possible. Alright guys, here is the final product of it. Here right now it's just air drying here in the fish room. Say a little bit of vinegar, some elbow grease, and a lot of dish soap. This thing cleaned up really nice. The biggest challenge was that this is an all-in-one fish tank like we've explained, so the filtration is that back portion all there. That's all we're going to call an internal sump that acts in the same way. Water overflows on each end of the tank. It's going to pass through some mechanical filtration of sponges. The next compartment over is going to flow through biological filtration. It's going to get heated, and then the pump's going to return it. There was a lot of debris back in that department, and what I found was that the bubbles from the dish soap clung to some of that debris and helped lift it out of the tank. So I know it seemed like a kind of a crazy idea. I think a lot of people recommend using Dawn dish soap to clean a fish tank. But if I let this air dry, the soap's going to evaporate out of it. I'm not going to have any issues with it. I can scrub it one more time down with a quick run over with some vinegar to take any residue off that may still be there, and then this tank will be ready to go. So there is some coralline algae and different calcium buildup that I didn't spend the most amount of time that I possibly could to get off. Preference, it really is. It's not going to harm anything. It's not going to affect any of the water parameters. So we'll see how this goes out. So yeah, so guys, stay tuned. If you're interested in these two tanks that we've done tonight, we first cleaned up the 55-gallon here, and then we cleaned up this all-in-one Innovator Marine tank. If this interests you, to follow both of these builds, as we know that this is going to be a blackwater tank. I haven't fully said yet what the 55-gallon is going to be, but go ahead, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, that way you don't miss any videos. And in the coming weeks, we are going to put both these tanks together, and when these tanks are done, we'll do an updated fish room tour. But until then, guys, I'm Trent Wel with Wel-Don Aquatics. Have a good night.